Yeah, I mean, in my case, I said, okay, this is like a fun fact for me that probably I won't remember because I would never ever, I mean, use a diamond ring. I don't like them. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of another jewelry type, but I would never use a diamond ring. So I say, okay, this is a fun fact that I will probably never be able to use. And I will put some cream all the time because my hands are dry. So
All the
it's like,
time,
okay,
right?
fun fact.
So let me see. So you are from Ecuador, right?
Ecuadorian Argentinian.
Right. And yeah, they just saw that on your bio. So you know how to speak in French, I believe, and then
In Argentina, we speak also Spanish.
Spanish. Wow, that's good. So how many
And,
languages do you know, like in general?
uh, Spanish, obviously, and English. I'm practicing. I think I'm getting better every single day.
Right.
And I took French classes, but just level one, and
Right.
also German, but level one. And if you don't use it, I mean, from time to time, you listen a song or watch a movie, and you get like random words, but that's it.
Right.
I'm not gonna be able to have not even a basic conversation in both languages.
Right. That makes more sense. But
What
still,
about you?
it's I something that always admire me with the people from other countries compared to the Indians is first of all, India itself has got so many dialects, different languages apart from our own mother tongue. But still, in the foreign countries, I often come across people who always has a collection of languages, like more than two or three different languages. So the answer to your question, how many languages do I speak? I speak like three different languages. So first Hindi, which is our like mother tongue, then English, and then the dialect that I've spoken about. So we speak a language called Bengali, which is again turned out it is one of the world's sweetest language if you give it a search on the internet. So because I come from that state itself, I've been born and brought up over there, so I know how to speak that language.
So, if you don't mind, I want to ask you. I mean, I'm reading actually a book that is written from Bishon Lakiani, and he's from Malaysia, but actually his backgrounds are from India.
Right.
And he was talking about story that he broke a rule that was like very into his family background. And
Right.
yesterday I watched a movie, this rom-com, like silly, but I wasn't very into a movie. It was very hot in here, and I said, okay, I just want to watch anything to distract myself. And the guy that was it was a drama character, it wasn't a real person. He was from Pakistan, but they were trying to match a girl from for him, and they said, okay, I don't mind if it's from this country or this country. And there was like several I don't
Right.
know how to say, but like different tribes or cultures, like
Tribes.
subcultures.
Yes.
They made like a super long list, and I said, okay, wow. I mean, you actually have different culture and different language in every subculture. Is it like that?
It's like
Could you explain
sub
it to me?
states. So let's say India is a country, and it has been
Mhm.
divided in almost like 28 different
Okay.
states. Okay, so we call it like states. I don't know how to make you understand more like that, but again, that we have different states, and that is how it has been divided. So like you can say, in these 28 different states, we have 28 different dialects. Now that's just the
Okay.
upper layer of the thing that I'm talking about. Like we have one mother tongue, which is like Hindi, as I've mentioned, and then 28 different dialects. Now among that as well, there are multiple sub dialects which even I'm not very much aware of. If I only talk about my state specifically, even I'm not aware of, but there are multiple other sub dialects because India is kind of a very ancient country itself. And
Mm-hmm.
apart from that, we are a population of 1.5 billion people. So you can
Mm-hmm.
understand how diversified it can be at times. And yeah,
But
and
is it like that is very strict? I mean, when they have to match you a partner, there's also like cultural differences, not just the dialects.
so right now, yes, also these things matters to a very remote part of the India. So right now, people we have got the internet, all the things I have like access. So the mindset of the people are changing slowly and steadily. Or the younger generations like me, if I talk about at this point of time, like me finding a life partner for myself, I don't really care about the religion or the kind of a culture the person comes from,
Okay.
till the time I have my heart onto that person. But when it comes to the previous generations of my dad, if we speak about, over there it was very straightforward. I mean, me as a young guy of the family, I am no one to decide who's my partner gonna be. If my parents have chosen the person which is like a good girl as per them, as a right partner for me, I'll have to get married without uttering a single word out of my mouth. It was such a, we were like such a parent oriented kids, or we used to be taught in a way like a good kid is, for the definition of good kid was somebody who doesn't speak anything, who is not keeping his point of view but accepting their parents decision, was a good definition of a good son or a good daughter. Still, there are, I mean, what to say? I ended up falling in love with such a kind of a girl, with a girl who belonged from such kind of a family who had very rigid mindset. And then, yeah, and that was my very last relationship. I decided not to ever fall in love with a girl who had such a kind of a family background, because it's really, takes up a toll on your mental health. So yeah,
Mm.
these
Yes.
were the things.
Thank you. Ah, it's been interesting. Um, and I mean, I don't know, probably it's like a cultural thing. I mean, I cannot even imagine
Yeah,
that. But I also heard this interesting point of view. I think it was from a girl from Occidental culture. And she
right,
said, actually, if you think so, I mean, it might look weird for us that you are matched by your parents, but also it's like a different commitment. Like for your culture, tell me if
yes,
I'm wrong. I mean, you put a lot of effort on the marriage because you know that it's not for love. I mean, probably love comes afterward, but you have to meet the person, respect the person, and put a lot of effort to make it actually work. Probably in
right.
Occidental cultures, we don't take it with that responsibility, like in general, obviously. Huh?
Right. Very good point. I actually mentioned it a very one-sided part of the culture, but very good point that you have brought it up. It is also a point that the commitment, like once our parents have decided that we are like, this is the girl that I'll have to get married, it is a sure shot commitment that I'm not going to get married to any other woman in my entire life. I'm gonna die with that person. I'm gonna live with that person. It is a commitment. I mean, if you
Mm.
decide to divorce that person, it is not only a shame on you, but also on your parents and then the entire culture. So, in our India, we have a saying that when two-person gets married, it is not only the two-person that gets married, it is the both the families are
Wow.
getting married along with them. Okay, so that is the culture. Now, see, this is where I come. My perception towards this is that these days it doesn't has to be very cultural the way, but we need to take both the things, some part from that generation and then some part from this generation can actually build a very beautiful life out of two partners and then two families, and that is how the generational and the society. But what is happening is that these days, with a lot of influence towards the western culture, we as a young generation or even our parents have given us the leeway to choose our partners according to our choice. But what is happening is that the urge of finding the perfect one, because there is no perfection, people don't understand this. You would understand at this point of life when you have reached to a certain, as position in your life, you understand what I'm trying to say. There is no perfect example like person in life. For
Mm.
if love is
Yeah.
all what matters, again, if you have if a definition of love is altogether something very different for you, I mean, then there is no point of we talking what we are talking. But for me, the definition of love is not finding somebody perfect, but you sticking with that person, and all your thoughts, all your actions, whatever your mind and heart is saying, you need to only listen if it is in the favor of keeping that person in your life. If a thought is coming that you need to choose somebody other from the person you love, with an option of finding the better one, I don't think that is a right form of definition of love that you have given to yourself. You need to change it. So this is the thing that our youth is facing, especially in India. I'll not talk about any other country, but in India we are losing that grip over the commitment part. This younger generation is not able to hold a certain relationship or the commitment. We are lacking behind on that. So yeah, these are the things.
Hmm. Well, actually, it's interesting. I mean, I do remember when I was at university, I have one of the subjects that's called sociology, and
Right.
we studied. I mean, it was related to film because that was my career, audiovisual design, and I read a very beautiful abstract, and the guy was proposing this that we in Latin America actually raised with this soap opera a culture that
Right.
for us love has to be with drama. If there's no
Exactly.
drama, there's actually not love. And it's kind of weird. I mean, because actually our books and poetry and everything you have to deal it or live it with pain. If it's not painful, then it's not
Yes,
love. And it's actually very weird. I mean, very weird
it is.
statement for have this idea of what love means. Yeah, it's very interesting how these absolutely universal ideas, in quotes, they are not so.
I'll tell you. I mean, this is how it is. I mean, the very first definition of love is it's a complete war. It's a complete battle altogether. And if your partner is not the very if the partner is not matching the same frequency, you would end up getting yourself mentally very stressed. So it's a very different topic. It's a never ending topic. There is no perfect example. Lot of things also depends upon your luck. A lot of things comes into the aspect, but again, happy for the ones who get the love of their life. I mean, if you have got the love of your life today at this point of your life, you are one of the luckiest person in the world, and that's the thing.
Very interesting. Thanks for sharing this topic. We have
Exactly.
to, I think we have to share about a different thing. I cannot remember, but I found that this way much interesting.
I mean, yeah, as I said, it is also one of my very favorite topic. But it's just that it brings up nothing but past memories. Honestly speaking, you can
But
tell
did you
me.
get like tired? I mean, sometimes people ask you a lot of things about India. I mean, sometimes I try not to. If it comes natural, then it comes natural, and
It comes
I get it.
naturally.
But sometimes I feel like, okay, what do you do in the country? And what's your favorite food? And how do they eat? And sometimes I think I'm scripted, so I prefer, I mean,
Yes.
to challenge myself. But in this case, it comes natural. But I mean, sometimes if people don't feel comfortable or they get bored to all the time explain things about their country, then okay, I take it. But I prefer if it comes natural.
Obviously, even I prefer the same. I mean, trust me, it sounds very scripted, and that is why that is why I have participated in what you said. And trust me, I've participated it to a very intellectual level, to a very emotional level, to what I've shared with you actually. And it is the case. I mean, you can tell me if you have ever loved somebody, and you can tell me the real life example, about you, because obviously I would get to learn a lot of things from you.
Okay, you were telling me if I were lucky. Well, I'm not actually. I think I have followed my mother's pattern and my grandmothers. They were
All right.
abandoned by their husbands and also their own fathers. So I wasn't on my father, but I have like it was a very tough relationship when I was a kid because he wanted to go out from the marriage. So
Right.
it's kind of more like energetical situation. I mean, he was there, but he wasn't there actually. I have a good relationship with him, but it also is kind of like a subtle situation that is not said. I mean, I know that you sacrifice your happiness by staying in a marriage that you don't want to, and it's kind of we know that we know,
Yeah.
but we have never talked in a very like
Open way.
deepest way.
Right.
I wouldn't say open because he's not very into sharing feelings, but not in a deepest way. I mean, we have talked, but this is like, okay. Let's leave it like that. But I think I have followed this pattern, and I have been like rejecting guys because I'm very observant. I don't trust very easily,
Right.
so it affects you the way you perform in this area, I would say. But
Exactly.
I experienced like 1 year ago a situation that it was very uncomfortable, and I said now I noticed that I was kind of following this path that I told you before. Like
Right.
if it hurts, then it's love. Like, but in a subconscious way, because in my consciousness I was trying, I mean, to be more calm
Yeah.
and being peaceful with this person, but it didn't went out as I was expecting. And actually, now with all the situation, I wouldn't say forgive, but actually heal. Then I said I was actually not very into the same values. So I was compromising my own way of seeing things. So I said,
Exactly.
okay, I get a huge lesson from this situation. And I said, okay, this is what I want. This is what I really want. I didn't want him. I want the idea of being with him. But actually, we didn't share, I would say, core values. And I said, no, no, no. Now
Exactly.
I really want someone. I mean, I thought, I mean, I'm vegetarian, so I'm the kind of person who said, if you're omnivorous, I wouldn't mind. And
Right.
that's a real statement from me. I'm not a religious person, but if you believe and you don't push me or you don't force me, then I will probably, if you are not so radical, I will probably be okay with it.
Right.
But trust or being gentle or being
Exactly.
respectful, those are my core values, and I didn't find that in him. So I said, okay, this is a huge deal for me. Has to be respect, or one of the, I would say, the pillars of the relationship.
It is indeed.
So
It is indeed. So I'm a vegetarian by myself though. So and I mean, you were a vegetarian right from the very beginning, or like you just been few years, or how it is? For me, it's been like 7 years. I used to eat non-veg, but then I quit when I was like 16, and yeah, since then I've been a vegetarian.
no, I'm since 1998. I was 18.
Wow.
So for me, it's longer time, more than half of my life. And yeah, I feel like very committed to it. For me, it's like an identity.
Right.
I call myself, I am vegetarian. I try to be vegan, and I say I would love to be vegan, but I can't. Because actually, my doctor said, please eat eggs. I'm begging you. I mean, you have a condition that you need B12, so please, I'm begging you. I mean, it's okay being vegetarian. I love it, etc. But please don't be vegan. I say,
Yeah.
okay, I can deal with it. I mean,
So
I try not to eat too much dairy.
I see a lot of tattoos, like in your hands. Are you into some kind of meditation or some kind of spiritual activities? Because normally, or how it is.
Well, actually, this is, I would say, a spiritual thing because he's a
Yeah.
wolf. I
Right.
made a, I don't know if you are aware, in the Amazons, we have a beverage that's called ayahuasca. It's a
Ayahuasca,
beverage that you
right?
have.
Like, right. I've heard about it. Like, I've watched this podcast called Mind Valley. It is again one of the founder is an Indian guy, and Mind Valley.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I've heard about this ayahuasca, like the
It's a,
shamans. I think the shamans and all these ayahuasca. Yeah, I've heard about it.
mhm. I did it once, and the shaman told us before the ceremony. It's very common to see Amazon or Andeans animal like frogs, snakes, panthers, and those kind of animals. And I said, okay, if you see it, don't worry. It comes with the medicine. But I didn't see any of those animals. Actually, the first image that I got was a wolf running toward me. And then afterwards, the ceremony, I asked him, okay, I never ever saw any Andean animal, but I saw a wolf. Is it my like totem animal? And he said, what do you think? And I said, yeah.
So
And I said, yes.
now that you have
Sure.
spoken about this thing, I have never shared these things to anybody in the internet specifically. Okay, because again, no, not many people would believe it. So my name, if you ever give it a search, like my name Shiva, you would find it. You would find an
Mhm.
Indian god, a very well-known Indian god, and this
Yeah.
god has
It's the one with several arms or not?
no. I mean, this particular god, you will see snake in his neck, a snake circling around
Okay.
and staying like this. Snake. So snake is a sign of very auspicious in our country compared to the other countries like in China and other countries they eat it, but in our case snakes are taken to be one of the deities in our country, and my name is given after this person. So this is something a very recent incident that I'm going to talk about, and this has happened.
Hmm.
So nothing, I'm not I haven't did any kind of spiritual things or things like that. But I started seeing snakes like very regular. So I started seeing snakes of like 10 feet, 11 feet. So I'm walking with somebody, and within a meter of like within a distance of 5 meter, 4 meter, they're walking by, like they're crossing in from front of me. So one day it was fine. Within a gap of 2 days, I see another big snake, like crossing in front of me within a distance of like not very close, but within a distance of 4 5 meters. That's okay. Now, one fine day, morning, evening, and late night, I was traveling and I was riding, and in front of me, these small little water snakes, they came in, and I was like, I have. For me, first of all, it was more of a rainy season. I always put logic before I come to a conclusion that okay, it's not something very logical. Logic, there is something more spiritual or illogical thing. So I
Mm-hmm.
questioned myself first of all I convinced myself that it's a rainy season, and obviously there are a lot of greenery around me, so I'm seeing these multiple snakes. But I also questioned myself the same thing, that I've been living in this place for the last 23 years. I have never came across with such kind of incident in my life. Why this year or this time? And you won't believe, I ended up seeing at least 9 snakes in 5 days, which is not very usual. Nobody is seeing it. People around me, I am only seeing it. And then I have some people who have certain knowledge in these things, and then I went to them and I was like, see, these are the things, and I'm sure these are not something very normal, and something has to be done, to stop this, because now it got into my mind with such a conscious, like into the subconscious level, where wherever, if I'm even if I'm seeing a certain thread of a certain bigger size, I'm feeling like it's a snake. So it was getting on to me, and then I did certain rituals I was told to, and then it all of a sudden stopped. So it happens. So somewhere or the other, I feel, with also the name also affects you spiritually. The name that you
Okay.
have been given, like in my case, the name that has been given and the incidents that have been happening, which I can connect myself to, because the kind of a god's name that I have been given by my parents, snake is the closest animal to him, like a very lovable animal to him. So these are the things. But again, these are some signs you need to understand. But that's how life works.
And what if it got a message for you, these
So,
snakes?
well, I
Did
actually
you
did
ever
my
monitor?
research. I actually did my research. So, snakes are more than animal. They are the sign of a certain energy. So,
Mhm.
if you are attaining if you are going a little level up of a normal understanding of life, these are the signs
Okay.
that you are on a right path. If these animals
Oh,
are attracting towards you, I mean, you are on the very right path spiritually, actually. So, this was the thing. Anyways, we haven't got much time left. Otherwise, I would have shared multiple other things onto this. We have only got like few seconds left. But yeah, it was the case.
yeah, cool. I mean, you're lucky, actually. I mean,
No,
to
no, I don't.
experience
I
that.
don't consider myself lucky. I
Yeah.
don't want to experience such kind of things. With snakes, 10, 15 foot of snakes, crawling around in front of me. I don't want to experience anything like that. But yeah, it was really nice talking to you. Thank you.